Okay, today I'm listening to a band which I think has a fun play on words. The Divinyls, as in a vinyl. Divine vinyls, the Divinyls. Kind of a cute little game there going on. This song is called Elsie. Well, I've never listened to this band or this song. As usual, I have just a little paragraph to read and then I'll listen. The Divinyls were an Australian rock band that were formed in Sydney in 1980. Does that mean that they didn't pronounce it Divinyls, perhaps Divinyls? The band was inducted into the Australian Recording Industry Association Hall of Fame in 2006. Divinyls released 5 studio albums, 4 placed in the top 10 Australian chart, while 1, Divinyls, reached number 15 in the United States and number 33 for 3 weeks in Canada. Okay. Elsie. Let's see how it sounds. Rather organ-like. Nice little riff.
She never had an education. She uses life as her vocation. Standing on ledges, clinging to the edges. The world's a hard place to land on. She has this one-way conversation, trying to avoid a confrontation. Memories of the kind that she'd rather leave behind. The world's a hard place to land on. Life can be lonely, life can be very sad, life can be sad. Wish you never had. Life can be lonely, life can be very sad, life can be sad. Wish you never had. Well, no.
What an interesting voice. It reminds me of another voice that I've listened to. I'll have to think about it and I'm sure I'll remember because I can almost say it. But it's distinctive. It has its own quality, and I feel like if I listened to this voice a couple more songs, I would be able to pick it out anywhere. That's the feeling I have. And I also like the way that it has this sort of, well, even the accent is not a bland, generic accent. You really feel like, yeah, there's some Australian accent or some part of the world accent, even in the singing. And I enjoy that because as a musician, I know how much we work, especially singers work, to build their diction, their presentation. And there's this kind of accepted pronunciation, which really is quite straight and plain, which is really good for many things, which is why it's accepted and kind of the gold standard. But it's always great to hear someone who comes with their own voice, their own style, their own accent even, and really owns it. And it makes me sit up and listen and think, yeah, it's a little bit different than standard, but I like it. I like that it's a bit different. I like that this person whether it's this singer or another singer, but whenever I hear a singer really own who they are, I love that. And I feel like this is one of those examples of it's a complete ownership of who I am as an artist, as a singer, as a musician. I'm not trying to conform. I am just being who I am. And that comes through really nicely here. Okay, I'm going to think about who this reminds me of, because there's another one. Oh, yes. Björk. It's the same kind of voice. A little bit different, but each one owns their own voice. Okay.
Discovery, dreams have passed recovery, never had a chance from the beginning. She just sleeps all day in her squalid little slum and takes little white pills to make her body feel all numb. And it's dark and dirty, and there's nothing left to eat. And in the air there's a feeling of defeat, smells of bugs and fornication, and a bottle of cheap scent. Should she stick around if this is all that life meant? Life can be lonely, life can be very sad, life can be sad. Wish you get my head. Life can be lonely, life can be very sad, life can be sad. Wish you get my head.
As I'm listening to this piece, I'm realizing how vivid of a picture this is painting of somebody who just never had a chance. And really, it's communicating so well the hardship, the feeling of defeat, and, well, life can be lonely, life can be very sad. And this intensifier, very. Sometimes I even find myself using very way too very much often. It becomes redundant. It becomes meaningless. It becomes something that we can just cut out. But in this piece of music, I feel like it belongs. Life can be very sad. It can be something you wish you never had. And painting the picture of somebody in this kind of life, who was handed this kind of life, who was ended up with this kind of life through no fault of their own. She never had an education. Standing on ledges, clinging to the edges. The world's a hard place to land on. And I feel like the music, the singer, the instruments, everything is doing such a good job of painting this kind of picture. And as I'm listening to this guitar solo and how it builds up and gets frantic and screeches a little higher, a little more. It's like this, it's this panic, this desperation, this, can you please open the door, let me get in, let me get out of this mess. And in that regard, from that perspective, I would say this is a very, very well presented artistic image. In fact, I often use visual similes to kind of try to explain what I'm hearing and how I perceive things in the music. And I have to say this one feels like a photograph, something that is very realist. And I'm using the word very here, right? I should cut it out of my vocabulary for a while. I don't know if I'd be successful with that, but now that I've commented on it, I hear myself saying very, very, very. But a photograph is much more realistic than a painting in many ways. It gives you the actual scene as you might see it if you were to walk in the room. It doesn't always paint the emotions or the sensations as well as a painted or a drawn image of the same scene. But a photograph gives you the realism element. And this piece of music gives me that feeling of, this is the realistic look. This is the this is how it would look if you were to walk in and see this place, this person, in this situation, in this context, in this life. And so I'm going to call it a bit of photography music. The drums have a sort of hard edge to them. The bass is constant pulsing. There's this echo reverb that feels like it's in a hard, cold space. Dark. Strange noises in the corners and the backgrounds. It's menacing. It's dangerous. Basically, nobody wants to live there. This should not be home. Photograph music. I've never really thought of it that way before, but it seems well suited to this piece, to what I get from this piece of music. So that's what I'm going to call it. Photograph music. And as such, I feel like that sums up how I see, I mean, even the lyrics have the same sort of realism qualities, dreams of past recovery. The world's a hard place to land on. She sleeps all day in her squalid little slum. It's dark and dirty. There's nothing left to eat. In her heart there's a feeling of defeat. And on it goes. And it's telling us exactly how it is for her there. And this long fade out at the end. It's as if we're feeling that, yeah, we feel the hope of a change just kind of drain out of the scene. We come, we take a picture of it, we leave. She's still there. And it's not going to change. For many people it will never change, and that's tragic, isn't it? But this music puts it front and center in front of our eyes, that this is what life means for many people. And as such, it's an important piece of music to listen to, because we should never get too comfortable in our own safe little homes, should we? We should always be able to look out and look beyond ourselves and our world, and remember and reach towards what else is out there for other people, and see if there's something we can do. So that is my first experience with the Divinyls and the song Elsie. They even gave this person a name. Isn't that special? The photograph is titled Elsie. Let's remember Elsie. I'll see you soon.